Hello, 6th grade mathematicians. Welcome back to Learning at Home with Mrs. V. All right, so if you have a piece of paper handy, if not, go ahead and pause the video and go grab a piece of paper. I want you to take your paper and go ahead and fold it, hot dog style, so that you can follow along with me. And when you open that up, you have a nice crease. So if you want to go ahead and take a straight edge, like it could even be a book if you don't have a ruler or a yardstick or meter stick handy, and just go ahead and draw a line there. And you're going to start with 0, and at one end, and at the opposite end, you're going to write 1. Okay? And we're going to be putting these fractions on a number line. And I'm going to show you a really easy way to do it. Also, how to relate these to other things. So if you would go ahead and get your paper ready, go ahead, like I said, fold it hot dog style, and this is going to be a number line. So you're going to start at 0 and have 1 at the other end, okay? Don't put any lines in between. We're going to do that together, all right? So after you get that ready, then you're ready to do the lesson with me. All right, so we're going to take a look at all of these different fractions, and you'll notice some of them have common denominators and some of them do not. And just by looking at these, it might look like this might be a difficult task to put these on the number line. But I'm going to show you a really easy way to do this, okay? So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look and see which ones have common denominators, and I'm going to kind of have some way to make it more visual for me to be able to see this. So if you want to get other colors, like I've got like a crayon or a colored pencil, you can do that too. Okay, so I notice I've got fourths. So I've got 1/4, I've got 3/4, and I've got 2/4, all right? So I notice that there are some with common denominators, and I want to make those a little more visible. So then I've got 1/3, and I've got 2/3, and then I've got my sixths down here, 1/6 and 3/6. Okay, so that makes it a little more visual for me, so that if I want to do some comparing with just the common denominators, I can do that too. All right, so one thing I do know, and when I'm doing this, you have to unpack everything that you've learned from previous years. So everything that I've learned about fractions, about decimals, about percents up into this point, and the things that you've learned, we want to unpack those and talk about those as we're going along. Okay, so 1/4. So sometimes you'll hear people say it's a quarter. And I can remember that because there are 4 quarters in a dollar. So this is also known as a quarter. Okay? And 1/4 is worth what? 25 cents, right? So when I take a calculator, and let me go grab mine, and I'll keep talking. So if I grab my calculator, and I put in my calculator 1 divided by 4, and I put equals. So if you put in your calculator, and I'm going to write this up for you. So if you put 1 divided by 4 in your calculator, what do you get? Well, you get 25 hundredths. Looks like 25 cents, doesn't it? Sure does. Okay, so 25 cents. This also means 25, and I'll write this over here to the side, 25%. This is also 25%. So, like if you had a pizza, and you cut it into, sorry, that wasn't very straight. That wasn't very symmetrical. All right, so if I cut it like this is 1/4 of the pizza, or 25% of the pizza, all right? Okay, so now that we've got an understanding of 1/4, how can I put 1/4 on this number line? Well, I'll tell you what I can do. Because I know I'm going to have to divide this number line into 4 pieces in order to create the space for 1/4. Well, if I've got 0 here and I've got 1 here, how many fourths equal 1? Well, I know that if I have a numerator and denominator, they're exactly the same, it equals 1. So even like 100 100ths equals 1 whole. So I know that 4 fourths gives me 1 whole, okay? Now, if I go ahead and split this right in the center, so if I split this right in the center, and I'm going to say that the center is right about here. This is halfway between the 0 and the 1. So I've got half of this number line. I've got half represented right here. So I already know I can put the half right here, okay? Half. Now, what else do I know about half? Well, I know that half is 50%, okay? That's 50%, half would be 50% because 50 is half of 100. So this would be 50%. So I can rename that 50% if I wanted to. So I've already got this one taken care of. But I still haven't done anything with my fourths. So now I've got to make sure I have fourths here. So I can go ahead and put spaces for my other fourths. So I've got, let's see, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. All right, so I can put my 1/4 here, 1/4. It's the same as 25%. I learned that, okay? 25%, or I could, hold on, I'm videotaping. That's okay. Or I could put my decimal there, okay? 25 hundredths. All right, so I've got 1/4. How many fourths would this be? This is 2/4. All right, so 2/4 is the same as, 2/4 is the same as half, and it's also the same as 50%. Okay, so 2/4 is equivalent to half, is equivalent to 50%. Boy, we know a lot, don't we? All right, so I've got 1/4, 2/4. What comes next? 3/4. Now, I can check, and I didn't tell you to do this, but I can check with my calculator, and I can go ahead and put 2 divided by 4 equals, and you'll see that that's 5/10. If we put the 0 there, that's where the 50% comes from, the 50%. Now, I can also do 3 divided by 4. So what do you think that's going to be? Well, before I hit equals, I know that if I have 3/4, how much money do I have? Well, I have 75 cents. So let's go ahead and hit equals, and that shows you 75 hundredths. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so we've got 3/4 or 75%. So let's go up here and see what we've already dealt with. So we've already dealt with 1/4. We know a lot about that one. We've done 3/4. We just did that one, 75%. Also, we can also rewrite it as a decimal, 75 hundredths. And then we have 2/4 here, and we could write 2/4 as half, 50%, or either 50 hundredths or 5/10. Remember that those are equivalent. It's just, all we're doing is we're just adding a place by adding the 0. Okay, so we've got the 2/4. All right, so we've already dealt with a lot of these. Okay, so now we've got 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. Now, how in the world are we going to figure out, and I've got to kind of move this stuff over here. So I'll move this down here so I have plenty of room. 1/3. 1/3. Let me see. 1/3. Is 1/3 going to be more than 1/4? Or is it going to be less than 1/4? So if I have 1 out of 4, so I've got 4 cookies, I eat 1 of them. I've got 25% of them that I've eaten. So let's go ahead, and since we found that 1/4, by using our calculator, we found 1/4 is 25 hundredths. Let's go ahead and let's try 1 divided by 3. Remember with fractions, this line right here, it means divided by. 1 divided by 3. So let's go ahead and put that in the calculator and see what we get for our percent. All right, let's see, 1 divided by 3. It'll give us the percent, but it also gives us the decimal form. All right, so what does that equal? Oh my goodness, so it's 33 hundredths, but then it's got the 3 after it. So if we round that, that's going to be 33%. Well, is 33% more than 25%? Well, of course it is. All right, so 1/3, we're going to put 1/3 right here. 1/3, and that's, we found, was 33%, so we'll put the 33% on here. And it's also 0.33, although we should put the 3, and that this means that the 3 just went on forever. We could put that there, but we don't really have to. For our purposes right now, we're just kind of rounding, okay? So 33 hundredths. So I've already dealt with the 1/3. So now I've already put that somewhere. Okay, so gosh, so I've got 1/4 is the smallest that I have up here so far. Then 1/3, then 2/4, then 3/4. And I can tell that by the percents too. 25%, 33%, 50%, 75%. All right, now let's move on to 2/3. Okay, is 2/3 going to be greater than 2/4? Or is it going to be less than 2/4? I know it's going to fall like right around here somewhere. I also want to know, is 2/3 greater than 3/4, or is it less than? So, in order for me to do that, I know that 3/4 is 75%. I know that 2/4 and 1/2 are 50%, and I have the decimal forms down here too. So let's go ahead and put in the calculator 2 divided by 3. Now I'm not going to put equals yet, because I'm going to look at this and I'm going to make a guess. When I hit the equal sign, I know it's going to be probably about double this, so I'm going to say it's going to be about 66%. That's going to be my guess, because 1/3 is 33%. Well, if I have 2 of them, I'm thinking I'll have 66%. You see where I get that? I'm taking that and I'm just doubling it. So let's see if I'm right. So let's hit the 2 divided by 3, hit the equal sign. Look at that, 66%. All right, so it's going to be in between these two, so I'm going to just put my line here and put my 2/3, and that is 66%, or 0.66, and then this 6 goes on, but we're going to go ahead and 66%. Okay, so now when you're cooking, okay, you cannot put 2/3 of something in, and that be enough in a recipe if it calls for 3/4. Some people think that that's a really close amount. It's off. It's off by almost 10%. So you have to be really careful when you're cooking. If you only have 2/3 of a cup of something and you need 3/4, you need to go get more. Your recipe's not going to turn out right. Okay, so there's a misconception that that's closer than what it really is. All right, so now we have 1/6. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I notice here, if I go back and see, I'm unpacking the things that I already know, the things that I've already found out. So I notice when I go back here and I look at 1/4 and 1/3. Okay, 1/4, the denominator is larger, a larger number, but the fraction itself is smaller. I'm taking a smaller piece of it. Well, here, I'm going to make a guess that since this denominator is larger, it's going to be a smaller piece, and so it's going to be a smaller amount. So when I put that in my calculator, I'm going to be looking for what is the decimal, and then what will the percent be, because those match. So I'm going to be looking to see that, to see if it falls below the 1/4 or if it goes in between the 4th and the 3rd. But with what I have up here so far and the pattern that I'm seeing, I'm kind of thinking because I'm taking a smaller piece, it's going to be a smaller fraction. So I'm going to put in 1 divided by 6, and I'm going to put a push equals. Yep, there we go, 16%. So 16. So I'm going to go ahead and put my 1/6 right here. I'm going to grab my marker, 1/6, and I'm looking at that, and that is 0.16 or 16 hundredths, and that translates to 16%. Okay, so yes, that is smaller. And I noticed that when I'm taking just one piece of something, when the denominator is smaller, or when the denominator is larger, I'm getting a smaller piece of the whole. Okay? So we've got 1/6 we've already dealt with. So 1/6 we said was 1600ths or 16%. All right? Okay, so 3/6. 3/6. Well, if I have 1/6 and I have 16%. 2/6, and let's go ahead, we don't have that on here. However, we can always still figure it. Okay, so 2/6, I'm going to be guessing is about 32%. So let's 2 divided by 6. Let's go ahead. 33%. I was close. 33%. So what would 3/6 be? Let's see. If I add another 16% to that, that's going to be about 49 or 50%, right? 50%? So let's do 3 divided by 6 and hit that equal sign, 50%. So, wait a minute. So we have half equals 50%, 2/4 equals 50%, or 50/100ths, and now we have 3/6. And I notice a pattern here. 1 is half of 2, 2 is half of 4, 3 is half of 6. All right, so see, there's more patterns we're finding here. All right, so I could probably, I'll bet you I could put, let's try 4/8, because 4 is half of 8. It's not on here, but let's go ahead and try it. So let's put it in the calculator. 4 divided by 8 equals 50%. 4/8. I'm sure we could keep going with that, and I'm sure you could investigate and write some more in on your number line. All right, so I'm hoping that writing this out and thinking this through, you're able to see that you don't have to, when you're looking at fractions, you don't have to have common denominators. You can unpack the information that you already know. You can use that information in order to order things, but you could also use that information to determine whether something, when you add two fractions together, or whether or not you're going to come closer to a whole, or whether you're going to be more than a whole or less than a whole, or when you're subtracting numbers, if it's going to be more than whole or less than whole. So we're going to get into all that kind of stuff this unit. So I hope you're getting excited about this unit. I really like fractions, but I also like being able to relate them to things that make it easy for me, like quarters, and relating the numerator and denominator to find half. So we're going to be doing all that kind of thing in this next unit. All right? I hope you enjoyed this. Keep watching, keep thinking, always stay curious, and I'll see you next time.